A small dog, having traveled a long way, tumbled out of a luggage cart at the train station. Pushing open its crate, it began wandering the platform until it suddenly stopped in front of a man and sat down obediently. The man, a university professor, picked up the puppy and tried to find its owner. But the vast station was empty except for the two of them. With no other choice, the professor took the dog home. His wife disliked dogs, so he hid the puppy in the living room, planning to explain later. But the little dog pushed open the door, climbed upstairs, and unable to resist nipped at the wife's foot. The secret was out. The next morning, the professor's wife printed lost dog flyers, urging him to return the puppy. But the professor refused. Instead, he took the dog to his university lectures. A colleague told him it was an Akita, and the symbol on its collar, Hachi, meant good fortune. From that day on, the puppy had a name, Hachi. The professor tried to teach Hachi to fetch, demonstrating himself, but the dog never budged. Watching her husband's joyful efforts, the wife softened and allowed Hachi to stay. As time passed, Hachi grew under the professor's care. Every morning, he happily escorted his owner to the station, and every evening, he waited faithfully by the flower bed, tail wagging the moment the professor appeared. Year after year, the station staff and vendors grew familiar with the loyal dog. Then came an unusual morning. Hachi refused to leave the house, barking anxiously. Suddenly, he performed the fetch trick he had never learned, his eyes filled with an inexplicable fear. But the professor only smiled, patted him, and walked into the station as usual. That day, during a lecture, the professor suffered a fatal heart attack. Hachi waited at the station until late at night, when the professor's son-in-law finally came to take him home. Through the door, Hachi saw the wife and daughter holding each other in grief. The next day, the family held a funeral, yet Hachi still waited at the station. He didn't understand her, perhaps he did, but chose to believe his owner would return. After the professor's death, his daughter took Hachi in, but the dog was miserable. One afternoon, he escaped, returning to the station to wait. Days turned into years. For a decade, Hachi waited, growing older and weaker. One day, the professor's wife found him there. "Hachi, you're still waiting for him," she whispered, embracing him as onlookers wiped their eyes. On a snowy night, Hachi, with his last strength, climbed the familiar steps. As his vision faded, the station doors seemed to open, and there stood the professor in his brown coat, arms outstretched, calling, "Hachi!" The snow fell heavier. On the platform, Hachi's lips curled slightly, as if lost in a sweet dream. And in another world, the professor knelt to scoop up a joyful little dog, their figures fading together into the snow-filled streets.